Thank you so much for joining me. I have 10 fragrances here that stole my heart at first sniff, and I'm ready to share them with you guys. Let's go. The first fragrance on this list is from the house of Calvin Klein, and this one is called Calvin Klein Women, and this is the EDP. This fragrance was love at first sniff. I first experienced this fragrance in Ulta, and the very moment I sprayed it out, I knew I was gonna have to have this one. It just smells so good. I love fragrances with this sort of scent profile. It's very clean, it's citrusy, it's floral, it's a little bit peppery, it's musky. So there is a lot going on, but I think it smells amazing. It does have a clean laundry type smell, which obviously if you follow my channel, you know that I'm definitely attracted to fragrances like that. And that's definitely what I'm getting here. The dominant notes in this one are eucalyptus, orange blossom. We do have some citruses. We have some woods and we have musk. It's long lasting, it projects nicely. I just think it's a beautiful everyday type of fragrance. It's something you could just pick up and put on, and then you'll just smell amazing and fabulous for the whole day. I really like this one. And of course, it was love at first sniff. This is Calvin Klein Women, and this is the EDP. Up next is a fragrance from the house of TRUSSARDI, and this one is called Donna. This is the EDP. This is another fragrance that I fell in love with the moment I smelled it. I was not expecting much from this fragrance. This fragrance was so hyped up on YouTube, and a lot of times when we have fragrances that are super hyped up, I kind of stay away from them because I feel as though sometimes they're not even worth the hype. But I really wanted to try this one only because a lot of you guys in my comments wanted to know my thoughts on this fragrance. So I basically bought this one because I wanted to review it for you guys, but I fell in love with this fragrance at first sniff. It gave me this very clean, fresh opening. So we have some citruses, and we have that jasmine tea, and we have vanilla. Very unique fragrance. I don't have anything else in my collection that quite smells like this. It has a very sophisticated, modern, chic type of smell, and I'm very attracted to smells like that. It just smells so beautiful. It's so hard to describe. What I get the most is actually that jasmine tea with the citruses. Very refreshing, but then there's this underlying sweetness, this warmth. It feels like a cashmere sweater. It's just so beautiful. There's this muskiness that you get in the dry down of the fragrance that is just so captivating. It's just so beautiful. It smells great. This is Donna EDP, and this is from the house of TRUSSARDI. Okay guys, so up next is a fragrance from the house of SHISEIDO. This one is called Zen. So a couple of people in my comments had asked me to also try this fragrance. They thought I would like it. So one day I decided, you know what, let me go into Macy's, let me try it out. Wasn't expecting anything much because I read the notes and they just seemed, you know, pretty simple. Citruses, some florals, some spiciness, some wooziness. Wasn't expecting too much, but it did sound like something I would like. As soon as I spread this one on my wrist, I didn't really put it up to my nose. I just kind of walked out of the store knowing that I needed to give it a couple of minutes for the fragrance to calm down. But even before I put my nose to my wrist, I could already smell the beautiful scent wafting off my wrist and up to my nose. And I was just like, okay, definitely see why everybody's asking me to try this fragrance. It is just so beautiful. So immediately what I got was the citruses. I got the pineapple, and of course I got the florals, I got the cedarwood, and I did get the patchouli, which I was so afraid of. I was afraid of the patchouli, thought I wasn't gonna like it, but this is high quality patchouli. The lasting power and the sillage is quite moderate. If you do apply liberally, you could get this one to last you for at least 7-8 hours. I do love the fact that it smells very casual but chic and expensive. At the same time, I just love the whole vibe that this fragrance gives off. This is Zen, and it's from the house of SHISEIDO. So up next on this list is a fragrance from the house of Burberry, and this is called Burberry Her. So this is of course a very popular scent. A lot of people have this fragrance, and a couple of months ago there was a lot of hype around this fragrance, but I really wanted to try it. A lot of you guys had asked me to try this one, and I did see a good amount of people talking about this one, so I wanted to see what it was all about. really had no high expectation or anything like that. I was sure it was gonna have the typical DNA of the other Burberry fragrances, but this one was just completely different. Really caught me off guard. See, I've never seen a fruits dealt this way before. You could tell that there are just a lot of berries in here because of that tartness that you get, but it's very sugary, powdery, it's musky. I just never experienced anything like this. I think it smells great. Even though it is sweet and it is fruity, it doesn't feel childlike to me at all. It's not a juvenile scent. This is a grown woman scent in my opinion. I think it's a fragrance that's very distinct, so it could be your signature scent. It is that kind of fragrance, and I just love this one. The longevity and the sillage in this one is amazing, and that's another thing that I really love about this scent. This is another fragrance that really caught me off guard, and the second that it hit my nose, I just knew it was gonna be love and that I was gonna have this one in my collection for a very long time. This is Burberry Her, and it's from the house of Burberry, of course. Next is Thank You Next, and this one is by Ariana Grande. I would say that this is one of my favorite fragrances from Ariana Grande. She really knows what she's doing in the fragrance category. I think all her fragrances are really nice. I've yet to smell one that I don't like, but this probably is my favorite, only because I feel as though it does have a unique scent. The first time I tested this one was actually in Ulta, and immediately I was like, oh my God, I like the smell of that. It smells different from everything else. I was smelling a lot of fragrances, but for some reason, this one just stood out. It kind of cleansed my palate and it just smelled completely different. So I just knew I was gonna love this one. As the fragrance started to progress, the fruity aspect of this fragrance started to really pull to the forefront. The coconut started to get more apparent, and the macaron note that we have in the base just stepped right to the forefront and really just captured my heart. This was one of those fragrances that had me in Ulta for an extra 30 minutes. I was just in there driving myself crazy, trying to talk myself out of buying it on spot at retail price, because it just smells so good and I just wanted to take it home. But thank God I was patient enough, waited a couple of minutes, stepped outside, looked at the prices online, got me a good deal, and then I had it. But it's a fragrance that I absolutely loved at first sniff. Next is a fragrance from the house of BVLGARI, and this is from the OMNIA line, and this one is called Coral. So I would say that the OMNIA line is just amazing. I would say for the most part, all the fragrances within this range is just so incredible. They all just smell so good, but Coral is special because it really attracted me at first sniff. As soon as I smelled it, I was just like, wow, this smells pretty good. It does have a very fruity opening. I think it's pomegranate that we have in here, I'm not sure, but I do think it's pomegranate that we have here. There's a bit of woodiness here. I believe it's cedarwood. I apologize, I did not look at the notes for this one, but from what I smell, I'm thinking it's pomegranate. We have some cedarwood. We have some citruses here, I believe. It just smells so good. I remember the first time I tried this one, it was in Sephora. Didn't buy it right away because I had some shopping to do that day. So I went across the street in Macy's, was doing some shopping, and then after I was done, went up to the cashier, and as soon as I stepped in front of him, the first thing he did was compliment me and told me that I smell amazing. So I was like, okay, so we're definitely on the same page, because I was also admiring the smell. So a couple of months ago, I did encounter this fragrance on a lady in a public restroom. She was in the other stall next to me, and I could just smell the scent coming from her stall, and I was like, what the hell? So as soon as I came out of the store, she came out of her stall. I was like, I'm definitely gonna ask her what she's wearing. And she told me it was Omnia Coral. And I was like, oh my God, I have that scent. But I'm like, it smells amazing on you. Of course, the next day, I made this my scent of the day, and I was just in heaven. It's a kind of fragrance that definitely will get you compliments. It's just so beautiful. Next on this list is a fragrance from the house of Eccentric Molecules, and this one is called Molecule 01. This fragrance right here is definitely a fragrance that I fell in love with the first time I smelled it. So I ordered this one online. It was shipped to my job, sprayed it on my wrist, and immediately I was like, before I even put my wrist up to my nose, the smell just surrounded me, and I was like, oh my God, yes. I was like, oh, this is good. It has a clean, fresh cedarwood type scent. It smells so good. It definitely has a very minimalistic type scent. It's kind of one of those fragrances that kind of smell like a one note type of fragrance. but at the same time it's very complex. It smells so good. I really like this one. It's a very versatile scent. You probably could wear this fragrance anywhere, in any situation, in any weather. It's that kind of fragrance. I think it's just so amazing, and I fell in love with this fragrance the very first time I smelled it. This fragrance does garner a lot of compliments. For some reason, people just love the smell of this, and I could definitely understand why. It's just so beautiful. This is Molecule 01, and this is from the house of Eccentric Molecules. Next is a fragrance from the house of Jean-Paul Gaultier, and this is Classique Pin-Up. So this is a flanker to the original Classique fragrance. As soon as I smelled this one, I just knew. I was like, yes, this is just a beautiful scent. It's just so gorgeous. It does have a bit in common with the original Classique fragrance. They did keep the orange blossom and the ginger in this fragrance. They also kept the vanilla, and there's that added marshmallow note that we have in this fragrance. As soon as I sprayed this fragrance out, I knew I was gonna love it. The longer you're wearing this one is the more you'll appreciate it. It just smells so good. What I especially love about this fragrance is the way it transforms. It starts out clean and fresh from that orange blossom and the ginger. Once the fragrance starts to dry down, you get those sweet notes, the vanilla and the marshmallow. The way they mingle together is just everything. It just smells so good. But at first sniff, I was already in love, but once you get to the base, it gets even better. So impressed with this fragrance. I remember the first full day that I wore this fragrance, and I got a quick whiff of it without trying to smell it, and I was like, oh my god, that's just so beautiful. It's super long lasting. It projects nicely. You could smell this through your mask. So when you're wearing this fragrance, it's the fragrance you smell even when you're wearing your mask. It's just so beautiful. So impressed by it. So happy to have this one in my collection. This is Classique Pin-Up, and it's from the house of Jean-Paul Gaultier. The last fragrance that I have on this list is a fragrance from the house of Michael Kors, and this one is called White. So I would say that this is my favorite Michael Kors fragrance. And I did accumulate a good amount of Michael Kors fragrances over the past couple of months, but this one remains my favorite. I bought this one in TJ Maxx. I paid 20 bucks for this, so I was not expecting it to be as good as it is. But as soon as I opened this baby up, sat down, sprayed this on my wrist in my car, I was just like, oh my god. I was like, this is amazing. It does have the scent profile or the DNA of the original Michael Kors scent, so you're able to pick up those white florals, the tuberose, the gardenia. You're able to pick that up, but this has an added greenness to it, like a slight herbal feel to this one that makes it so special. It does have this classy feel to it. There's a bit of a soapiness to this also, like a clean bar soap type of vibe going on. It just smells so good, and it was absolutely love at first sniff. I still love it up to this day. They do have the share version, which I'm also dying to try because I could just imagine how good that one smells too. It just smells so good. I love this one. The sillage and lasting power of this one is moderate. After 5 or 6 hours, you may have to go in and reapply, but it's not a big deal for me at all. I think this is just gorgeous, and it was definitely love at first sniff. This is Michael Kors White. Okay guys, so that brings me to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know down below. I'm just so curious to know what fragrances were love at first sniff for you. That fragrance that as soon as you sprayed it out, you just knew it was gonna be special. Let me know down below, and I'll see you guys in the comments. I love y'all so much. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for the love, the support. Don't forget to follow me over on Instagram, where I show you guys my scent of the day, my favorite fragrance combos, and of course I do random giveaways. Again, I love you guys so much. Bye.